Alright, in today's video I'm going to show you how to turn your CNC into a vinyl cutting machine by making this two-color vinyl decal. Okay, so these are the tools you're going to need to convert your CNC into a vinyl cutting machine. And the first and most important thing is this thing here, which is the vinyl cutting attachment from Bones Woodshop. It's 3D printed, very nice quality, good durable heavy-duty piece here. So this is a 52 millimeter. It's meant to fit right onto the spindle shaft of the 4030, and he also sells different sizes for 65 millimeter and I believe 80 millimeter also. And the kit comes with what it comes with is here's your vinyl cutting knife, and it's adjustable. Here you'll see the gold ring is your little lock ring, so you loosen that up and it allows you to turn this silver ring here for the depth of the cut, and then if you push on that you can see that the blade will pop out there, but that's just a spring-loaded blade. Okay, so then next you have the spring, and basically this unit here will just kind of pop right into the front there of the attachment, and then you'll put the spring in there, and then the spring will lock right inside at the top here. There's a little ridge where the spring locks, and it keeps tension on this piece while it's in the attachment. So then also what you get with the kit is you get a 15 different vinyl cutters. There's 30 degree, 45 degree, and 60 degree, and the tips are color, or the covers on the bits are color coded, and I think there's 5 of each type of bit. And then also what you have is an instruction pamphlet here, a little page, and it's very detailed as far as what you need to do to install the cartridge into the attachment, and some tips on how to make it work, front and back there. Very good instructions. Again, this is from Bones Woodshop, and I'll include a link for you if you're interested in it. I think this was about $70 for the whole kit here. So again, very good quality. I've used it several times and no complaints. It works very well. So then also what you'll need is your vinyl, which I have here. I have a piece of orange vinyl that's taped down to this cutting mat, which I bought at Walmart. I think that was like $15 or $20. And I have the middle here is taped down with some double stick like Scotch tape or something, wrapping paper tape, just so that it doesn't buckle up. And then I just secured the edges with a little bit of 1-inch painter's tape. So then you also need a squeegee, and this just helps. You don't need it necessarily for the cutting, but for later on when you want to do your vinyl decal you'll need it. But basically after I put the double stick tape down in here, I just do a little bit of squeegeeing just to make sure all the air bubbles are out and it lays flat. Otherwise your vinyl could get torn by the bit as it's running through the vinyl. So then also what you'll need later on is you'll need transfer tape over here, and I think this is called Vinyl Ease transfer tape. I'll include a link for that. And then you'll also need a pick or a weeding tool later on for when you're prepping to put your vinyl decal on whatever you're going to put it on. So other than that, I think that should take care of it for all the parts and the setup. So I'll get ready here in a moment and I'll show you how to attach the vinyl cutter and put it all together. Okay, so in setting up your drag knife here, this is what you're going to do. You're going to pick one of your bits here, and you can see that they are the tips are color coded for you. So then what you're going to do is you have your bit here and your vinyl cutter cartridge. So that just slides right in. You're just going to push in this little spring-loaded pin right here, and then just insert the blade, the opposite end of the blade right in there, and it just kind of keeps it locked in place with some tension. Now what you want to do is this knob here will adjust the whole inner cartridge, this little shaft here, up and down, and it'll it'll reveal the tip of your drag the cutter right here outside this hole. So as you can kind of see there, so it is spring loaded. And then this is your little lock ring right here, this little gold part or brass part. So if you just loosen that up, you can spin this to bring the blade out and retract it in. So once you get your depth set, you just want to turn this ring here and lock it in place. Now the proper depth for this is that you want to test it on a piece of scrap material, so then you can just barely see, you probably can't even see the tip sticking out there, but you just want the tip, you just want to scratch it right along a piece of scrap material, and you want the tip of this to just be able to go through like that orange material there. You don't want it to go through the backing, and that's too far. And it's a very fine adjustment. And basically what that's going to do is that's going to help you. It's not that it's a big problem if it does go through both. It's just going to help you in the long run when you go to remove the vinyl from the backing. It just makes it a lot easier. So again, you just want to set the depth so that the point cuts just through the orange material but not through the backing. So then after you have your depth set, you're going to take the cartridge, and you have your printed piece here. So you're just going to drop it right in, and then you're going to take your spring. This does get a little tight, but you just have to kind of work it right in there, and it snaps right in place and it holds it in. So then after that, you're just going to put it right on your spindle. Now with this one here, on the other models, this little flange right here that tightens it down will normally go to the back. Like if you have a Shapeoko or X-Carve or Onefinity, chances are you're going to have enough room between the back of the spindle and what the spindle's mounted to. But with this one, it's a little different. It's no big deal. It just makes it, you know, it just makes your flange here set off to the side, and your drag knife sits off to the side, but it's not a big deal at all. So there you go. I'm just going to slide that on and then tighten it up. So then basically you're going to zero in your machine just as if you would have a bit in the spindle, and it just makes it a little more harder to get it set exactly to where you want it, because your bit's not sticking out very far past the end here. But you could always just take a little screwdriver or something and push the bit down, push this little spring pin down so that your bit sticks out farther as you're once you get it close to where you want your zero set, so that way you can see the point a little better. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all zeroed in and show you how it works. Okay, so I'm all ready to go here. I have the machine zeroed in. And just one tip when you are zeroing the machine in, when you have this set down, you want to have the bit initially just touching the top of the material like you would do if you're zeroing your machine with a piece of paper. But then you also want to bring it down just a little extra more so you can see this spring. You'll be able to see this spring compress a little bit. And then what that's going to do is that'll just, so like 0.1 millimeter or 0.01 millimeter, whether you're using inches or millimeters for your machine, you just want to be able to see this spring compress just a little bit once you get it zeroed in, so that way you know that it's going to cut through the material. Again, it's very fine settings for making sure that you're going to cut through this vinyl, since it is so thin. But yeah, so you just want to make sure that once you have it touching, then just come down just a little bit more, like 0.01 or 0.1 if you're using candle in your settings there, just to make sure that this compresses and you know it's going to cut through. And even if it doesn't cut through, you can run the file again, as long as you have have the machine come back to your X and Y 0 again. So and I lowered the camera. Hopefully you're not gonna, or you will be able to see how it cuts. It's just with the light and with it not cutting very deep, you know, you may not be able to see it actually cutting through the vinyl till afterwards. So, and then also another pointer, make sure you don't have a bit in your spindle, especially if your machine turns on the spindle automatically. So I took the bit out, and just, you know, you can always remove the code from the G code in your machine before you run it. So I'm all ready to go. Start it and see how she goes. Okay, so there you go. Just cut out the logo for my channel name here. And one thing you want to keep in mind, you might see some of the little white specks here in some of the corners. You just have to make sure that your speeds are not too fast for this, because it will tear the vinyl if you are a little too fast. And I may have went a little too deep. You can see some of the curling up, and that's what it'll do if you do set your cutter too deep. Or you can even try, this is a 60-degree cutter, you can try the 30-degree cutter. It might not curl up quite as much. So, but again, I'm just experimenting with this, so we'll see how it goes. What I'm creating is a 2-color vinyl decal for my channel name. So the next one I'm going to do in gray, and then these two will overlap. So when I go to put it onto something, you'll see both the gray and the orange together. So, and sorry for my machine being so noisy. I have not used this machine for a couple months, since I had this using the Open Builds control box for a while when I expanded my machine to 1,000 by 1,000 millimeters. But I ended up selling the extension parts that I made to somebody else who had a 4030 and didn't want to buy their own. So I sold the 1000 by 1000 millimeter parts in the open builds control box to someone else, and then I just downsized to the 6060 extension. So I need to go into Candle and reset some of the settings so my machine is not so noisy. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up to do the gray portion of the decal, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I weeded out the material, and there's the first half of my logo. On to the second half. Okay, well, you see that I have both parts of my decal all cut out. I did have to redo this one a couple times because I didn't realize that this gray vinyl is about half the thickness of the orange here, and it just wasn't cutting right, so I just had to do that a couple times just to get it the proper depth, and I ended up changing to a 30-degree bit instead of the 60, because when it plunges into the paper it won't quite make some ragged edges. It'll make a little bit cleaner edge, so I went ahead and redid that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some of this transfer paper onto one side, and then I can transfer it onto the other one. So basically, get this out of the way. So I have this paper here. So you're going to lay your transfer paper over top, and then just work your way. Oops. Get that so it sticks down, and then just work your way across. So I have that, and then just take your squeegee and just burnish it on there. Make sure you want to make sure that it's adhered very good to the transfer paper, so that way when you peel it off that the letters stick to the transfer paper and not the backing. Alright, so I think I have that where I want it to be. So now I think actually what I'm going to do is turn this upside down. I'm going to try to peel this off. And you can see that's coming off pretty good. Actually, I want to flip this over. So then this is what you want to do so that it makes it a lot easier to get it on to your other piece. So I'm just gonna still have some double stick tape on this one so it stays in place. So now what I want to do is peel that off. Probably that didn't want to stick. Try and get that on there a little bit better. There we go. So basically, what I'll try to do just kind of briefly lay it on there without it sticking too much, and just kind of see if it all lines up. Maybe just bring it over to the side just a little bit. Now there is another way you can do this with that involves wax paper or parchment paper. And I think I'm pretty good with that right there. That looks pretty good. So I'm just going to burnish that on there. Take off the other backing paper. Hopefully that'll work. And there we go. It sticks better to the back or to the transfer paper. Now what I'm going to do, I don't really have, the only thing I have, I'm going to try and put this on this little clipboard that I got. Just a cheap one that I bought. I don't know if it'll fit. It might be too big. Yeah, actually that will fit that way. So if I can line that up. And burnish it again. Now this is a permanent vinyl, which is not necessarily 100% permanent. You can get it off. It's just a lot more difficult. So just gotta hit. All right, let's see if maybe we can't peel this off. Alright, there you go. Not too bad for the first two-color vinyl decal. So I'm happy with it. It's not exactly perfect, but it'll do. Not exactly straight on my clipboard, but again, that's just more of a test project than anything else. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know. I'll post all the links for the materials and the drag knife and everything that I used, and in the description. So again, feel free to let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.